Welcome back, Invincipals, and welcome to our semi-spoiler-free review of Invincible Season 3. The good folks over at Amazon were gracious enough to give us early access to Season 3, and this video is going to give you some of our thoughts and feelings on the third season of the breakout show. We aren't going to discuss any specifics of the storylines or reveal anything that you might view as a spoiler, but we will discuss specific performances based on already announced casting, so if you're sensitive to that type of thing, or if you've completely avoided everything, I don't know why you would have clicked on this anyway, but just trust that I will be as thoughtful about spoilers as I can be. Now, full transparency, we have only seen the first 6 episodes, and I anticipate it's because the last 2 are going to be some of the most monumental episodes of the show. However, that is pure speculation right now, knowing where we are at the end of episode 6, and what that dovetails into. This video is going to be quick and straight to the point. I don't want to tell you everything about the season, so my first and main takeaway is this. If you get anything from this video, it's that this is a truly great season of this series. It's not perfect, but it's really good. And if you're worried that Amazon is going to deviate from the source material, don't be worried, because Invincible is one of the more faithful adaptations that I've ever seen, and this season continues this tradition. The season's first episode starts out strong, and just continues to push the boundaries and the pace the entire way. And listen, Amazon hasn't told me what to say. They don't care what I say about the series. I'm telling you this because I care about my viewers, and I want you guys to check this out. Now, I believe in giving people what they want, so let's start by discussing the one element of this show that seems to unite the community: the ultra-brutal fights. You'll be happy to know that Invincible Season 3 hits the ground running with some of the most brutal fights and gore the series has ever shown. Mark is able to fight a number of enemies unchained this season, allowing him to be far more brutal than in previous ones. Battles are plentiful, and importantly, there are a ton of them. Almost every episode has a big, bombastic, brutal fight. Not to sound like a broken record from my Season 2 reviews, but from a storytelling perspective, tonally, I would say that this is probably the darkest season yet. I mean, for those of you who have read the series and understand from the previews which characters and storylines occur during this time period, you know the exact types of things and conflicts that you're walking into. Do not expect Amazon to pull punches with specific characters as well. If it was brutal and dark in the comics, you better believe it's brutal and dark in the show, maybe more so. It does not seem like the writers and showrunners have any intention of sugarcoating anything. The fundamental narrative in this part of the series focuses on Mark questioning how good of a good guy he really is and how good the GDA is. There are multiple battles he's already had, and how those battles impact the globe is part of that central narrative. His loyalties, specifically with Cecil Stedman and the GDA, are questioned, which cause major status quo shakeups. It pretty much lines up with the actual comics, but it is incredible to watch and play out. The emotion that Steven Yeun casts as Mark Grayson is incredible. I really wanted to take a second here and say something. I had someone on Twitter tell me that they stopped watching because they had already read the series and that the show was just that, except animated. Well, I don't know what to tell you, bud, but that's basically what fans want. We're getting an animated adaptation, not a story loosely based on characters like Marvel and DC. Episode 6 is a standout episode to me that illustrates this. Minor spoilers ahead, but Episode 6 focuses on a character named Powerplex, played by Aaron Paul of Need for Speed fame. He was also in some other show on AMC, I don't know, I didn't watch it, but in my opinion, it's the single darkest and most impactful episode of the season and possibly the entire series. I cannot wait for you guys to see episode 6. Aaron Paul absolutely nails the emotional gravity of the episode. It's one of the best episodes of the series to date. It forces Mark to face the reality that his actions have consequences, and despite his best intentions, he causes very real pain and suffering to people he wants to help. Invincible has highs and lows. While at times it feels like Mark Grayson is the universe's punching bag, he does have happy moments, but by the end of this season, almost every major relationship that Mark is in changes or is tested in a significant way. Some are going to be viewed as fan favorite moments that have been a long time coming, and others will feel strained so badly that they simply feel like they may never recover. I don't feel like saying this is a spoiler, but if you're concerned, skip ahead a few seconds to the timestamp on the screen now. You still here? Cool, because there is simply no way that if you're even remotely Invincible fan that you don't know this, but I am happy to report that the strongest element of this season in terms of Mark's emotional growth is his blossoming relationship with Adam Eve. I wanted to write a video essay discussing their romance for a while, and I absolutely will, but I'm glad that we're finally starting to get this relationship, as I think Mark and Eve goes down in history as one of the best written relationships in comics. Sure, they have ups and downs in the comics and very serious things happen, but Kirkman avoids a lot of the pitfalls of modern day overly melodramatic romance and allows Mark and Eve to communicate like real people instead of CW characters. Now, if you're terminally online, you may have heard complaints about Invincible's animation, and if you're not a fan from before, you're not going to be a fan now. You're going to get what you're going to get, and if you don't like this style, then there haven't really been any major shakeups worth reporting. But if you're like me and you're fine with the animation quality, as it's very similar to X-Men 97, you'll be just as happy as I am. I get it. It's difficult for the animation team to compare the show to the comics, which are honestly some of the best drawn artwork in the business. But if you're sleeping on this show because the animation isn't where you want it to be, in my opinion, that's your loss. The rest of us are eating. Standout performances are the name of the game this season, and nearly every major character has a chance to shine. I truly can't wait for you guys to see this season. And if you're an Invincible fan, feel free to follow me on Twitter and on Blue Sky. I love discussing the newest episodes. I'd love to get a dialogue going on a weekly basis with you guys and see what you all think about it week over week. And that is it for this mini review. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, make sure to like and subscribe. We have a ton of complete history videos on our channel already for the most popular characters from Invincible, and we're going to have a ton more as new characters are unveiled in the show. This has been Nick with Key Issues. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Get hype with me for Invincible Season 3, and remember the motto, Invincible over everything.